Okay, hi, Brother Allie. This is Sister Johnson and Sister Brady. So I will portray the part of Ken or discuss Ken on his behalf, and Miriam will discuss Karen, the store manager. So, um, what Ken? I don't know what constituents Ken could be worried about. They didn't specify any friends. I would think all of his friends would be excited that he would be named assistant manager for, getting him discounts on beer or, whatever they want
Mm-hmm.
from him. In terms of the family that Ken has, I think his biggest concern, who would care about the outcome, would be his fiance, Kirsten, in another state going to school. Very, very peripherally and superficially, Margot, the fat cat, when's her next meal going to come from? I don't know if Karen would be terribly concerned about the outcome of this. She's got her own concerns and her own issues, but I don't know that she would necessarily be on Ken's side, um, if you had to pick sides. The other person that I could think of that would be concerned about the outcome of whether or not he gets the raise and the promotion would be the Toyota dealership, because he traded in his Volkswagen Bug for a new Toyota truck. The dealerships or the bank is going to want to make sure that they get his car payment. So those are the few people that I could think of, based on the information we had, that would be interested in whether or not Ken is promoted to assistant manager.
I agree. I think that you had some really good points. I hadn't thought about the car dealership. That's like an excellent add-on. And like for Karen, I think I'm not sure how people would be so invested in her hiring someone unless that it gives her more time with them. So like her family would probably care. Her husband would probably care that she'd have somebody kind of picking up the slack for her so that she could spend more time with him. It doesn't really affect her financially too much because, she's already making her salary. So like that. Friends, I'm not sure. Maybe the other person it would affect would be the caregiver for her husband. That she could spend more time with her husband and the caregiver could have a little bit more time off. I'm not really sure. And since she's her own boss, I think, she probably has upper management above her somewhere else, but she's a store manager. So who might care? Maybe people in the store would care. The other people who work there would care how this assistant manager is going to be. Like if he's going to be on board, if he's going to be like this last guy. I don't know.
I wondered about the customers, if there would be a change of kind of overall atmosphere, if you will, in the store.
Yeah.
If the customers would be influenced one way or another, but that's possible. I didn't think about the other employees either. How are they going to feel? Are they going to feel
Are they going to like
overlooked? Are they going
Ken or are they going to
to?
feel, yeah. And are they going
Yeah.
to feel like maybe somebody else was more deserving than Ken?
Right. And it sounds like he's the only horse in the race. So, he doesn't know. I don't know that he's really trying to position anybody else, but he is trying to get a better deal, get the best deal for himself that he can, which goes on to the next part, clarifying the interests. Relative to Ken, what do I care about? He clearly is concerned about making more money. He seems to want more money because that's what the other guy made. It was rumored to have made. He doesn't know that for sure. He does seem concerned about being able to go to grad school, but although he doesn't know what he wants to study, he has an English degree, but he wants to go on further. He wants to marry Kirsten eventually, and he does want stability in his job to start a family. By getting this promotion, I think that is an opportunity for the company or Saneway to demonstrate they are committed to him by giving him more responsibility. But whether or not he wants to take it, he seems clearly avoiding of overtime and really putting in the extra effort that it needs He's got a good work ethic, but sometimes that good work ethic needs to be pushed a little bit. You need to really commit to the company and do what needs to be done in a problem.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think for her main interest that she cares about is her family and having enough to take care of them, since she's basically the sole provider. I don't know. She's probably thinking about having enough time to spend with her family. Possibly having someone she can lean on, someone who will help her share that mantle of responsibility. Rather, it seems like the last guy was more leaning on her, not helping and not taking any of her responsibilities, but kind of adding to it. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking what she cares about is she wants somebody who's committed on the same level that she is. This is her career. This is what she's chosen to do. And she wants to feel that whoever's working by her side is on the same page, I'm thinking.
Right. I'm wondering too, how will her promoting Ken reflect her personal or professionally? Because you're right, she does have a boss. He could come down and say, Karen, that was a great job. Good job promoting Ken. He seems to be working out. Or the boss could come back and say, what were you thinking? So that could reflect poorly on her one way or another. Yeah. I was wondering too, and this is probably not the way we should be discussing this, but I wondered if she did have more time. She does only have a high school diploma. She hasn't got any college. Would this maybe interest her in going back and her getting a degree to be of more value to Saneway in the future?
Yeah, because if she could get a degree possibly in business, she probably could move further up the chain.
Yeah, and they paid for Ken's classes. Some of his, would they pay for hers as well? So those are some of the personal concerns that I think each party had. Moving on to the business concerns that they had. Again, like I said, Ken doesn't seem to be concerned too much with working overtime or being available to the company as needed. He seems to be willing to work just his 40 hours, work minimal, walk the walk, and then he's gone. But I wonder if once he gets out of just the produce department and sees the overall management necessities of the store, would that maybe, if he liked it, would that maybe give him a sense of direction academically, and maybe he'd be willing to go and get a degree, like you said, in marketing or whatever, and make his career in the grocery industry. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely something he could do. He already has his degree, and going to graduate school could be really beneficial. I'm thinking she would want somebody who would be open to working overtime, to like putting in that commitment. So, it'd take a little bit off of her shoulders, because kind of what an assistant would do. What else?
She may have to get a little creative too, in terms of if he can't stay and do overtime, is there some way she could compensate him other than financially? Because if he's going to be salaried, give him, do something else for him, find out what his motivations are, what would motivate him.
Since he's thinking about going back to graduate school, maybe she could work up a schedule that allowed him to go to school and be available when she needs him.
Right, if he'd be willing to step up when he was needed, and understand that it is a kind of a give and take situation, especially with her husband's his health and the needs that he has. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Talking too about probing for underlying interests, I kept going back to it. It seems very obvious that he wants to make more money.
Yeah.
That would accomplish his goal, again, of going to school, of helping pay for the truck, maybe providing more stability. I think that is pretty much his biggest underlying interest, is making more money. But he seems to think it's going to be given to him. There seems to me to be somewhat of an air of entitlement, which is going to make it really hard for him to command the $5,000 a year extra that he thinks he's already entitled to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. For her, I think her basic underlying interest is really about her family. It seems like she needs to take care of them. She wants to have time for them. She wants to have a little more energy probably to devote to them, so that she's being able to rely a little bit more on someone for help, so it's not all on her shoulders. And so I was thinking, like, maybe her underlying interests are that this is something that she's made a career of. Does she want more? Is she satisfied with just being a manager? Does she want to move up, like you were saying? Does she want her education too? Does she want because she has tight money too, so she might want to hire someone who's responsible and train him so that maybe he could take over the store one day and she could move up the ladder. You know, so she might really be thinking that his level of commitment could go there, you know?
Right. Yeah. And like I said, this $5,000 that he seems to want, you know, so badly, I just don't see it with his lack of not wanting to do more than is going to be required of him. Because if he's going to be in a management position, that's going to require a lot of him. He may not be able to see Kirsten as much. He may have to. My husband always says that you never stop proving yourself to your boss. He worked for a company for almost 20 years, a few years ago, and I never understood, you know, why he did that. He says you just never stop proving yourself to the boss.
And I can see that that's a really good point.
Yeah, and so he just may, and again, maybe the different job responsibility will light something in him that maybe this is what he wants to do. But he may be in a position too very quickly to make a serious decision. He doesn't know what else he'll do. He doesn't know what he wants to study in school, but
he seems a little bit lost. And then, like, he's getting ready to get married, so he obviously has something in him where he's willing to commit to more. But I mean, he might want this money thinking mainly about affording his truck and affording that wedding coming up and a ring, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, right. As I think he's pretty bold, like I said, in expecting that $5,000. If that's even what his predecessor was making. It was rumored that he made that, but you know, very few employees know what everybody else makes. So you know, there's probably room for negotiation in that dollar amount. But yeah, for Ken to just come in and expect
some
that,
raise would be in order, because he's a produce manager and he'd be going to like assistant manager for the whole store, and he'd have a lot more responsibility. So I would think some raise, but obviously that other person had been there a while and they might have worked up to that. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, what, like 1,500 more, 2,000 maybe. I don't know.
Right. Or, you know, could they do like what they do with athletes all the time, or authors, or, you know, whatever, give them a signing bonus. Like you said, give them an upfront bonus. And then say after 6 months or a year or whatever, then we'll give you this much based on your review and how you're doing. And this is what you would have to do. But then he would have to have input on that as well.
Like a performance review. And you'd have to, my arm's getting tired. Wish my camera worked on the computer, but anyway. Just like a bonus for getting that managerial position, and then like some sort of performance review like 6 months down the road, and then like another maybe at a year, and then another raise at that point.
Right, just break it up a little bit. Yeah.
So, like if he earns it.
And there again, you know, kind of to wrap up, there are definite perks for both sides, but there are definite challenges to be overcome from both sides as well. And it would be a matter of would he be willing to put in the time? And it might be time on her side too to train him in the beginning until he can, like you say, take an afternoon with her gone, or maybe a whole day as she takes a 3-day weekend, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not open and closed. It doesn't appear to me to be rigid on both sides. Both sides can do things to maybe provide a meeting in the middle.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Miriam. I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.